Stretch. Okay, let's ease into this one today. Or do anything. Make sure everything is looking right on Twitch. Doop doop. So it does say Rise to Ruins today, but that's probably because that was what I played last. So session 9, I think that sounds pretty accurate. So okay, that means we can move on and just get right into it. So today is a Saturday, aka the weekend, and I have a few hours where I feel like streaming a little bit of Rise to Ruins, so that is what I've got planned today. I was considering another game that is just come out of early access, but I think I'll give it a little bit of time so I can at least go and check it out before I do anything with it. Anyway, so we're in Springland. Survived for 12 days. Almost have the same pop as Sandy South. And oh right, we have this goal. 730 God XP. Well now. 90 wood sent to Springland. How long is that gonna take? Because I'm considering if we should do the outpost upgrade first, so that we can get that completed. Since I think getting the wood sent over is gonna take a little bit longer. Yes. Okay, I've got some things on my desktop that I should probably close down. Because I've been working on some stuff today. Okay. Because I published my RimWorld ore mods just a few hours ago. Which means they're now publicly available for everyone who's curious about that kind of stuff. And they're just called Dragons Ores, or something to the tune of that. So if you just search on the workshop for Dragons Ore, you will find them. And there's also links to all the different mods within each mod, so it should be easy enough to find. Okay, so curious stations. That no wait, this is the other. This is not that map. That's not what we're doing right now. Let's get the auto clicker out so that I have that available to me. There we go. Well, I guess I want to wait a little bit. We have some corruption here that we need to clear out as well. But here we go. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Because that area down here isn't fully covered in corruption resistance, so it's gonna be a bit tricky. Let's at least teleport all this stone across so that we can not worry about that at least. Now, how do we deal with this situation? Okay, let's just pop this in already. There's no need to like remove the remaining stone here. Because if we just put that down that one, that should cover up these remaining tiles that are sort of in danger of being corrupted. Alright, what else can we do while these buildings are upgraded? Shouldn't really take too long, honestly. Because we're already done with this area. And it's also just barely summer. And I guess since the marketplace is up here, this is also where we want to build the courier stations. Civics, right? Yes. Can't always remember where all the things are, so my apologies if I forget. Oh yeah, and it's concert time again today. I forgot. How could you ever forget? I wonder if they're testing sound or if it's just starting. Because it's very on point time-wise. Just hear like a boom, 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 boom. Unsure if it's a synthetic sound or if it's an actual drum, but it's very bassy at least. Okay. Do the upgrades, you guys. I will see if we'll play Rise to Ruins all day. Like yesterday I played this, and if I do it again today, I don't know, might be a little bit much. But oh yeah, it's not fucking construct, it's mend. For some reason I keep like mixing them up, even though I'm pretty sure... Wait, actually no, I don't know. I believe the construct is a newer ability that wasn't always there, but I could be totally wrong about that. I had second thoughts just as about I was to say that, so I'll kind of just pull that statement back. Because I honestly don't know. Okay. But yeah, so because the ore mod, or different ore mods are now out, the next step for me would be to, well, get my load order completely finished off. And make sure that everything works as intended. And figure out if there's some things that kind of break. But we'll see, because I don't know if some of the things I mentioned yesterday, if I want to do stuff about it. So yesterday I did mention that there were some like materials added to the game for one of the main mods that I'll be using, and I wasn't too happy with the stats on those, regardless of how hard or easy they are to acquire, because they just weren't in line with anything else. But maybe I'll... well, that's a dangerous thing to do actually. I was contemplating maybe I will just leave them for now, and then if they turn out to be like too OP, I'll just make a local nerf. But the thing is, if I do that, then yeah, and I would have those materials in place, it might fuck up some things. Okay, so that should be the 5 outposts upgraded, because it wasn't the Ranger's Lodge, it was the outposts. Which I don't think have I ever used those for anything? That also gives us a chest, but let's see, because I'm curious to see what this one gives us. Ooh, that is very nice. Half a second cooldown reduction on Motivate Land spell. I will take that. That is a real good one. Oh, game's thinking. Plus half a second to the soul spell duration. That's also really good. Nice. Okay, actually, should I start up Stream Raiders? I probably should. Now that I think about it, because I kind of promised people yesterday. Since we didn't quite, we're just before a blue chest, so. But yeah, that does create the dilemma, doesn't it? Like, should I wait until people are in here so that they get a chance to see that I'm streaming, or should I just start up the Stream Raiders thing? Because if it fails, like if people don't put down enough units, or we don't have enough units to succeed, you know, then it's whatever, because then maybe on the second round people will actually be in. But that does also mean that, you know, those 30 minutes or whatever don't really amount to any, or I guess you do get coins at least. So it's not a complete waste of time, but Pretty close. Courier stations here. And we need to send stuff off to Springland, and it was it just wood? Was it literally just 90 wood? I think it was just 90 wood. So to speed that up, let's reduce our builders and miners, and then just get a fuck ton of lumberjacks. Because that's the only thing that we care about right now. We are in autumn here, so unfortunately our motivate land spell is going to be slightly less efficient, but you know, we can still do stuff with it. Still use it. I wonder if you can completely get the cooldown removed entirely if you just get enough of those perks. Oh yeah, look at this. Yes. More wood, please. I was also contemplating maybe playing Starbound today. Started playing with a friend of mine on a private server at the moment, at least. Like, it is technically publicly visible, but you need to know the domain name in order to join. And as he put it, like, he didn't want to like overload the server with a bunch of randoms, but he's a little bit afraid of that. So I'm not gonna go and like post the server deets anywhere, and also, you know, when streaming I don't want to accidentally show that domain name, because he uses it for a couple servers. So only if he's interested in sharing it will I share it, and it'll probably it would be on my Discord, not straight through streaming, so you would have to go through a little loop at least. It's nothing major, of course, for the average person, but it does enough to keep randoms from like jumping in on the server more. And that's the whole point behind that. So I think the concert has started. It doesn't sound like a sound check, at least. But it does also sound like some kind of EDM today. Or at least, generally speaking, electronic music. Synthesized music. Not that I have anything against synthetic instruments or sounds, but it's more like the simplicity of the music kind of bores me. Makes me tired. I want some nuance in my music. And even better than nuance, which, you know, you can do that with electronic music as well. Why is the game stuttering like this? What the hell? Okay, that's a new one. Huh. Okay, that's a bit obnoxious. Okay. Don't know what's going on, actually. Like, it's being very unresponsive too. What the hell? Okay, just give me a moment. I'll check my task manager to see if it's actually the game or if it's something else. Are we good? Game? Is it because I pulled up the task manager got scared? Maybe the game got scared, who knows? But I prefer my music to also have stories in them. I do like storytelling through music. That's something I think is really cool. And you can have both lighthearted but also, you know, more widespread stories. Like concept albums are really cool. So like, you know, one that many metalheads will probably mention, or at least within the power metal community or similar, would be Rhapsody of Fire, which, you know, you have multiple albums produced over several years that tell a progressive story in amongst, you know, different albums that they've put out, which is a very interesting way of doing music, I think. Because not often do you, like, where else would you see, well, get the experience of a cliffhanger within music? I know some musicians and artists have also made like singular tracks that then get a sequel or a continuation if the song contains like some kind of plot or storyline. And that's also really cool. But it's not quite the same as having an entire album be about the same story. Another peculiar thing I've experienced is, and I don't know if they're still making music or how it was again, but they released an album and a novel alongside to go with it, which, how was it again? The novel was the prelude to what happens in the music. So the music covers stuff that happens in continuation of and in relation to what happens in the novel. And they made like a character basically out of each band member then also being present in the story. What were they called again? Can't remember. I bought the novel because I thought it was such a interesting concept. What were they called again? Not Glory Hammer, no. Those are a bit different. Shoot, I can't remember. Because they didn't really release that anything afterwards, if I remember correctly. What were they called again? God, this really annoys me when that happens. You probably know that feeling. Doop-a-doop. Lauren God, that's what they were called. L-O-R-E-N-G-U-A-R-D. Lauren God. Pretty cool concept for a band. And some well-produced music to boot. Given, you know, it was, as far as I know, their first released album and stuff. And the novel wasn't bad either. I don't really read all that much, but this was like a peculiar enough like thing for me to want to pursue it a little bit more. Okay, so we definitely have enough wood now. Only question is, oh shit, here's all the wood that's been loaded up. Jeez. Think you can fit any more in those? But yeah, it's like you have to wait. It takes like at least a day in order to send resources over. So assuming that you have enough courier golems and courier suppliers to stock them up with the things they need to move, you can probably get all the objective requirements handle within a day. That's like a massive stack of wood though. I do like how everything just stacks on top of each other this way. It's a pretty cool way of visualizing how many items someone is carrying. Because it's not just these, I mean it's also for all your villagers. And that's like really nice when you have in-world UI. Like for instance, as a comparison, if you look at RimWorld, apart from a few exceptions, most of the things that get hauled by a pawn is not visible unless you click in through a UI showing you an overview of what they are carrying, which means that you don't get that sense of like them doing a lot of work when they're moving halfway across the map, because you can't see that they're necessarily carrying anything. Okay, what else is there to do here? Because what about the migration way stations, maybe? Where were they again? Were they up here? I think they were. There they are. Yeah, we've still got some people queued up for going to Wyvern Edge as well. So I suppose that's something will also get done. Well, there's not really much else that I can do except there's might be a few things I can upgrade here and there, but it's not really like that makes much of a difference for this area. Because I don't think the global speed, I wonder if that affects their movement speed, because if that's the case, then getting all the ancillaries built might actually benefit me in the future. But I don't know. There's also like a little bit of an improvement that can be gained from building some more harvesting buildings, but it's not really anything major, so that's why I haven't really bothered with it. Oh yeah, that's definitely some kind of EDM music. Kind of sounds like rave music. Okay, are the golems like... You guys ready to go? Just waiting for you to send off that wood, please. Wood, please. The other thing I could do is build and upgrade some more Waymaker shacks. We only have 2, and by building more I could redirect like some of our Waymakers into working in other areas, or maybe not necessarily that at least, but I would be able to use those people in other places without our roads falling apart. Is it necessary? Probably not. But hey, it's something we can do. Oh, all the golems are heading out. So once this one is left, we can see if that's the last 20. I think it might be. Yep. Cool. I've also sent some people along for Wyvern Edge. Basically just some of the people that just joined this colony have already been sent over. But in order for them to leave for Wyvern Edge, they have to actually go out at the edge of the map. So that's all the stuff that's going on over here. Do I want to wait for them to go across? Yeah, leaving the region. Not doing anything. Because all these resources only appear in the other map if they get to actually, you know, leave this one first. Until then, they'll sort of just continuously be on their way. Okay, that one's not as important. We can just... That one will arrive and... or head out to Wibbenage next time we go back here. Which undoubtedly we will eventually do. Knowing the quest generation system for this game and such. Awesome. 400 wooden swords in any region. Oh, wow. -2-second construct spell cooldown. Okay, I'll take it. But it could be better. Could be like duration. Would rather have that, because the construct spell is quite expensive. 400 wooden swords though. Well, unlike the bows that I kind of botched a few streams back, the swords should at least be fairly easy to make. That would be toolsmithy. And unlike the bows, I don't think the swords need any additional material, which was the main problem from that I had when I needed to make a bunch of bows. Since the bows, they need a bunch of string in order to be crafted, and the work, or the the crafting processes for making the bows were just stalling, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what was going on until after a very painfully long time I finally, it finally dawned on me what was going on. It was because I didn't have any string in store, because it drops as a secondary resource, making it a little bit let's say more uncommon. I don't know if rare is quite the right, I don't think if it's considered explicitly rare, but it's definitely uncommon due to how it drops as a secondary thing. Do I want to? Yes, I do. Time to dismantle this one, because we have our water purifiers over here, and they're almost upgraded. And the main lake is here as well, so I do want to have a toolsmithy right next, pretty close to where our forge is. And as well as where our wood is. Let's make another one down there though. And the reason being, actually, let's also make some bowyers around here. Want multiple ones to get the craft speed of these suckers upgraded. And if I remember correctly, for tools and weapons, it doesn't go up by much at a time, so it might be nice having a couple. If I'm getting if I end up staring blankly, it's because I'm listening into that EDM and it's just like melting my brain. So I'm trying to make out the music, I guess. Because of course it's loud enough to be annoying to me, but it's not loud enough for me to also properly hear the music, I guess you could say. Is that's Scooby-Doo? Why is this guy named Scooby-Doo? I thought that would be like a doggo name, not a villager name. Huh. Okay, so we do have enough housing at least. That's good. Oh, there's a fire pit all the way down the corner. Let's grab this key and move it up into our base. Because if I just drop it around here, they'll use it on a nearby chest automatically, so I don't have to drop it exactly on a chest. I could do that, but it's not necessary. Yeah, I do really hope that the corruption resistance has done its job and I can safely remove all of these fire pits now. That would be nice. Because I don't really even need this recombobulator here anymore. Here come the QB golems. I wonder what they're up to. Oh right, they can help with deconstruction. I forgot about that. Build, goddammit. Oh yeah, I should have done this a long time ago. We've pretty much all but run out of tools. But it doesn't... See, that's the thing. We can give tools for workers so it increases their work speed, but I didn't really needed this run, like on this in this colony, to make any at all. Granted, we probably got some that was sent over from the other colony, but I didn't send that much over, I don't think. So even though I sent over a bunch of it, they probably ran out just as quickly. Do we want to sell the wooden swords? I mean, we could technically just sell wooden swords so that we can continue making a ton of these. Actually, let's just queue up selling of 400 swords, because that's exactly how many we need to make. Because we can do that. We have started selling ammunition too. We're not producing it, we've just been getting it through chests. But that's still, you know, that's still some free coins essentially. Oh, there's another one here. Another chest. These are all over the place. I should probably not have started moving these. Now these are just... Oh boy. Because they like try and teleport closer and closer to the settlement, to the keep, or whatever stage it's at. The main building, basically. But they'll only go to... Like, they'll prefer teleporting to places where... like, there's space for it. So... in other words, whenever they get close to your base, but there's like a huge forest blocking their path, this happens, where it just sort of teleports back and forth, and you can't really control where it goes. You can just hope that it does something like this, and now it's finally like close enough again so that our villagers can open them up. Now true, you can also just leave them out and about and then drag a key onto them, open them, and then use the recall spell to get the loot back home. But first off, you need some keys. And what I've done is that I've queued up purchasing of keys up to like a large quantity, because the chests tend to accumulate faster than you get keys that you can buy. So in order to deal with that, you want to buy keys as early as possible. And what you can do is you can build this large key, this key shack, and upgrade it up so it'll store up to 8 keys. And if you use the grab tool on it when there is a key in store, because you know it's a visual UI, you can see all the keys on these racks when they're present. You can drag it from here, like pick it up from there, and then manually drop it on a chest anywhere in the map as well. Well, I tend to get way more chests than I do keys by the time that the corruption has been beaten even. Okay, do we want to do one more farm and then plant some woolly potatoes? Maybe. Maybe that is what I want to do. Because this raw food, or raw vegetables, isn't just used for making rations for villagers in the kitchens, or to be eaten directly at their houses and such. But you also use it as cattle feed, if I recall correctly. Yeah, we haven't gotten any of those buildings built yet, but that's okay. Because we do have a lot of stuff that needs to be built. Oh, and I guess we're short on wood, even though we have like a ton of lumberjacks. Huh. Well, let's put some more lumberjacks in instead of builders, because it doesn't matter if you have 20 builders if they're short on resources to build with. Oh, sorry about that. It's like whenever I eat and then go off straight afterwards to streaming, like I don't exactly burp necessarily all that much, but I do get a lot of air that kind of just makes me like get stuck. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a bodily function after all. So it's a little bit distracting for myself, but what can you do? Get all that stuff back home. Oh, this is no, this is a fire pit. Never mind. I am contemplating cleaning up these purple... Not contemplating, I'm going to be cleaning up these purple crystals out here. Not because you have to, but because they show up as white specks on the map. And that makes it a little bit more cumbersome when you're scanning for like doggos, for instance. You can see the doggos on the map pretty easily when they're moving around, because they'll more likely than not be on the outer edges, and they will be like a dot moving around. Okay, if you see a dot moving around the outer edges of the map out here, it's either like it's some kind of wild animal or a doggo. But as you can see, this trash as well as these crystals sort of have that same vibe going on, so if I remove all the crystals, at least that leaves for less confusion. when reading the mini map. Okie dokie. Wow, I did talk about stream raiders. Let's actually go over and do that before I forget. So it's been 40 minutes since I started the stream, so it's a very hard map though, so I hope people will drop by, otherwise this might be a problem. I mean, it already probably is, but I digress. Let's hope that I'm wrong though. Oh, here come some of those resources that were sent over. And we got like a chest full of armor. And we already have 50 swords, so it goes by pretty quickly making this stuff. We only have, what, 2 toolsmiths, so they work fast. So what can we do to help them out? Do like this. And then like this. Give our waymakers a bit more work to do, which is totally fine. Okay, so they do still go diagonally across, but I wonder if that's going to change once this road gets finished or not. Speaking of change, let's plant those holy potatoes. Unlike the other god-related items and structures, the holy potatoes and the holy wood, which are the only holy things, do not require you to like sustain them. They don't have they don't reserve parts of your influence bar, so you can use it pretty safely without worrying about like issues in terms of your essence management, I guess you would say. Let's do one more cast around here. And then we can just use the Motivate Land spell to grow them even further. Because it does have a long cooldown, but I mean, once you get like a field growing and sort of established, then yeah, Motivate Land spell does the trick. We don't really need the construct spell anymore. We can switch that slot out for a storm spell, which again, though being very expensive, is also kind of useful as it improves the efficiency of the Motivate Land spell whenever it rains. Or rather, because it rains while the spell is active. Of course, that effect does also happen whenever it rains naturally. So you don't have to use that spell. You can also wait until it rains and then just, you know, time your Motivate Land spell casts with that event. I guess it wouldn't be an event in this game. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to go to Lach and Cat and follow them back. Let me just do that. I normally try and do that whenever people raid me. And they have 8 followers. So I wonder if they're brand new. Not live at the moment, but we'll give them a follow. And then we'll see if we'll have them pop by later in the future. Like not later today necessarily, just in the future. Because I think they sort of raided me and then they didn't really stick around for much. But maybe it was because I wasn't engaging enough with them. I don't know. Could also just have been busy. Because I was in the middle of like... what is it called again? It's not a monologue. It's a... Oof, words are hard. And it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anecdote, I guess. Anecdote is what I was looking for, at least. I don't know if that quite fits the description of what I was talking about, but that's at least the term I was looking for. Of course, the only bad thing about this crop field location is that it's in the middle of the highway going through the base, so all the villagers kind of get a little bit distracted from this, which is why I assume that there's like a bunch of iron laying in the middle of a freaking field here. You know, it's okay. It's not like we're in a hurry anymore. So the refining speed gets improved by 10%. Wait, does it not? It does not. It does not affect wooden sword refining speed. Ah. Okay. Well then, that's interesting. I actually assumed it would. But then that means there's no way to do that then. Like improve it, that is. That is a bit peculiar. Some more toolsmiths. Because as you can probably tell, or might have noticed, is that my wooden sword production is improved by 3%. But that would be because of the god perks, nothing else. Maybe that is the only way to gain the like improved crafting speeds of wooden swords. That's okay. It's not like I usually make them anyway. Let's get all these migration way stations and courier stations upgraded though. Ooh, a suspicious key. Nice. The question is, where do we want to send our stuff to next? So we have 2 options that are relevant at least. I mean, we can send to both because we would have to do that eventually. So let's see here. Let's wait with tools for now. Let's do a daily limit of 3 cut stone and 3 boards and 1 or 2 crylithium. I think 2 is okay. Let's do 4 daily of these because the day goes, screw it, let's do 5 because the day goes by fairly slowly in comparison to how fast we can make some of these. these things, so why not switch it up a little bit. Do I want to send crystal? Let's do 2 because you can make use of some crystal in the other areas, but honestly, I don't know if it's that important. Actually, instead of doing daily food as well. No, let's do daily food. Because I was contemplating on sending like just as much as I want it to be eventually, but I think having it ongoing would be preferable. Do 4 instead, actually. That brings us back around. Tools. Eventually I would like to send a certain amount every place, but I think Gateway would be the next map from here at least that we would do. Meaning that is where we should send our tools, but we don't really have that many already here to begin with. But I do want to send at least 30. 5 of those, and I think 2 of those, right? Yep. I'm just gonna set up these in the same way so that the daily limits for how much I'm sending is gonna be the same for both places. Oh yeah, and then 2 regular crystal. And what else? Food. That's 4, so let's do that as well. Anything else in there? Feathers? No. Weapons? No. We're just selling those locally. Because I would rather buy iron so that we can make more tools to send along. Then we have this thing here, which let's just make a bunch of leather armor. Let's spend any resources into iron because all this iron armor is stuff that's been looted over time. I mean, there's just a bunch of it just lying here even. So don't ever feel the necessity to craft any of that stuff myself, at least. The loot boxes sort of tend to provide you with enough and then some. Okay, and these courier stations are just queued up for being upgraded. When our bowyers have been built, don't really do as any. Well, I guess they do one thing without being upgraded. 2 things. They allow for you to store stuff in them, and they allow you to assign more Fletchers. But I don't know if you don't upgrade a building if all the Fletchers can still work in one place. So at that point they would basically just be like all over your base if they're not like in a collected spot. Talking about the bowyer buildings. No workers in the armory. Okay. Do I want to do 1 or 2? Let's do 2. Armor smiths. Castle is completely upgraded. We don't really have to worry about that one anymore. This storage could be upgraded just once more. Lodge key shack can be upgraded to a established and then a reinforced. Okay. So how did the removal of all the crystal junk out here go? Let's help them out. Teleport all these trashy bits here and there back. It's a little bit unnecessary, but I'll do it just because I can. Oh, what? They still have a headless spawn here. Huh. That's interesting. How the hell did that spawn? It could be that they have some corrupted ground underneath some of this mountainous terrain here, and that's where they spawn. Or it could just have been a headless that just had been stuck down there and finally bashed its way through like 7 layers of rock. That does happen as well. But it does make me a little bit scared of trying to disassemble these fire pits. Because if there still is some kind of corrupted ground down there, it could really screw me over if it suddenly rebounds like that. Which it could just as well do. Well then, not really gonna be much going on this map anymore. We've sort of done everything we needed to do. We've established ourselves quite well. We don't even have that many villagers. Wait, do we still have... What? Oh no, okay, it's a region next to us. We've got 20 people en route. Alright, we haven't gone to Narrow Path either. Oh! Oh, that's actually interesting. That means that we can send... could technically send like a bunch of people to Narrow Path. But that also means that we can send resources to Narrow Path from here. Oh. Because we haven't started up a colony there yet either. Which means that if we went there after sending a bunch of stuff there from here, we would get like so resources from 2 different places once we start playing on that map. That would be really cool. Because the benefit of sending from multiple places is that since they're coming from different places, you can also have more courier golems arrive on a daily basis because of how, you know, the system works. Basically meaning that you get more resources earlier and you get more people earlier as well. At least as far as I guess it would work. I'm actually not entirely sure. But I think that's how it would work. Okay. Time to cut down on organizers and stuff because our people are leaving already. Amara Darkness. Okay. Elijah Mundo. I think I have had like an Elijah Wood as well at some point. Like not in this time around playing, but you know, a long time ago. Do I still need to have the min spell in here? Based off of what I'm seeing. These buildings keep getting damaged and I wonder why. Probably just due to environmental effects. Nothing to be worried about. I'm at least fairly certain that it wouldn't be due to trashy slimes generating or anything to that degree. The only thing that makes it a little bit weird is that it seems rather... I don't know if random is probably not the right word, but it feels a little bit like random buildings are the ones... Like, it's no particular building that's been damaged. Does the cat eat? Do I want to try and disassemble this thing now? Yeah, let's do it. There we go. Oh, look at all these tools coming in. Or are they being sent off? I think they're being... oh yeah, they're being sent off. That's a nice stack of tools though. So of course, as you probably figured, the more courier golem stations you have, the more resources you can also queue up to be sent away every day. Rather, you can queue up as much stuff as you want, but in order for all that stuff that you queue up to be sent, you do need like enough of a capacity here in order to actually make it happen. And I think we need some more storage around here in order to make it more like possible for us to sort of send enough along. So let's do a mineral storage here. Most of this is just water, so I'm not cutting away too much of the mountain. Let's do a wood storage and a rock storage as well, because we already have equipment and ammo over here. Could also do food and crystal, but yeah, let's just do crystal. We do need to sort of unassign some people. I guess we'll just have to cut down on the amount of wood lumberjacks we have, even though we're still low on wood, believe it or not. It's like you need a fuck ton of wood until you don't. Yeah, so weird that the tools maybe doesn't give you more bonuses than what it that's. And none towards wooden sword creation either. Swords there. Okay, so we've already sold almost, well, yeah, almost 80 swords. Making room for more. That's probably also why our wooden supply is not really growing. Our toolsmiths are probably converting them into wooden swords. Well, that and the fact that we still have a bunch of buildings that require wood materials for their construction, so it makes sense. Since it's raining, why don't we motivate the land a little bit? But yeah, I released some RimWorld mods today. And as a result, I probably won't be streaming for too long either, because it did kind of wear me out a little bit, not gonna lie. There was a lot of going back and forth, finicky stuff, double checking and being very careful not to miss out certain details. But it's finally out, and that means I can relax a little bit in terms of that. Except once people start putting comments on the workshop saying like all the things that are broken or not working as intended. Hopefully that shouldn't be the case, since I have spent a good amount of hours at this point working on the mods, so hopefully, even if there might be some things that people will comment about, it's hopefully nothing serious that I can't fix within a relatively short amount of time. As long as it's not something that breaks people's saves. Which it shouldn't have the possibility of breaking a save necessarily. The only thing that could sort of affect people is if I start tweaking the stats on the materials. Now if I lower something like hit points, for instance, on a material, I noticed in RimWorld that, as you would expect, the material will go down in durability as a result to that point if it's higher than that, like, you know, it gets clamped. But if you do the opposite, which is to increase the hit points, for instance, the item stays around the same. And I also found out that if you add items that are spawned in, or if you add hit points to an item that's already spawned in and it didn't originally have any, it will be sitting at -1 hit out of whatever hit points you assign. I didn't actually check if you could still damage it to like if it would still be destroyed if it got damaged, but yeah, as long as I don't add like completely new stat types to already spawned in materials in people's saves, then it should be fine. I'm pretty happy with the current result though. And do intend on using it in my playthrough, obviously. But there are some things that I want to like see if I can't tweak in terms of other mods that might be relevant. And if it's just something like an XML thing or a, what's it called again? Is it called PostScript patch? Which is basically a patch that you apply after a mod has been loaded. So if you imagine you have a list of 7 mods and the game loads them from top to bottom, and then once all those mods have been loaded into memory and such and initialized, then after that's been done, then a patch operation carries through and changes things. And those patches with Harmony in RimWorld, which is like a patching, updating, well, patching like framework, those patches are fairly easy to do. The thing that gets really tricky is if you're doing because there's 3 different ways you can do it. You can do a patch that's applied before any mods are loaded, which, or actually, how is it again? I think it's like it must be before the mod itself is loaded. So you patch things and then you load that mod in the load order. So if it's like the number 3 down the list, you load 2 mods, then it does the patching and then it loads itself and then any subsequent mods afterwards. But then there's also a patching operation where you inject a patch into the middle of a mod. As far as I remember, there is that distinction, which, at least the one that I'm thinking about, even if I got the description of it a little bit simplified, is the kind of patching that's the most difficult to carry out. I tried doing it with a mod called Stuffed Floors because for some reason Fluffy does some weird stuff where he forces you to have all your floors into the vanilla floors menu, which basically prohibits any mod offerer that wants to use his framework from putting their floors into a separate menu. Like, it just doesn't work. And I did like a local copy of his mod and just tried to make some local changes to it a while back, and I got it to a point where it was working just as intended, the mod, but it didn't force all the all the floor types into the vanilla floors menu, but I could not grasp my head around patching it, because you have to, like, what do you call it? It's a very high level. No, is it low level? Low level sort of area in terms of code that you have to manipulate. So you're not even seeing like the code as it's originally written in, but it's closer to machine code than actual, than C#, for instance. So it's almost like as if you're manipulating particular bits of code that's been stored in your memory without going too technically into it. For some reason, Rise to Ruins is frozen and it crashed. Nice. Okay, this happened occasionally. Okay, we've got a few people in here. Okay, guys, I don't think we're gonna make this happen, but we can try. Definitely try. Nope. Get wrecked. Oh, 3 meters. Oh, is it because of that rogue? Okay. Well, we'll need some more people if it doesn't get like overly easy to complete now. Because even though it still says very hard. Yeah, there seems to be fewer units, but I don't know if it's enough. Let me put down a big boy and hope that we can do it with your help. And I have started up Rise to Ruins. Again. Hope it doesn't give me too much of a rollback when it crashes like that. Yeah, we do have some progress here at least, so it tells me that we're doing okay. I have 121 wooden swords in this region. Seems like not the best strategic choice in terms of weapon material, but you know, I guess you can at least do some blunt damage with the thing. And believe me, I've made a wooden sword before myself, so although you can make it have an edge, wood is just way too soft to do much cutting. And even if you made the edge of the blade like sharp enough to cut paper or something, it would dull up pretty quickly. Especially if it gets moist and it's not like lacquered or anything. And I made the sword that I did for cosplay anyway, so it had rounded edges and spray painted with a silver color so that it at least had like some kind of resemblance to a real sword. But also doing the well, let's call it intelligent choice of making it not as little as undangerous as possible, as safe to sort of go around with as possible. Obviously I wasn't bashing people with it for fun. It was just a part of the costume and like needed some weight so that it would stay in place in its scabbard. And for posing when posing for pictures, of course. I could also use it there. Because, you know, conventions have rules in terms of that kind of stuff on what you're allowed to make it out of, and, you know, that it's not allowed to have a sharp edge, that kind of stuff. For safety reasons. I did my best to respect it. But it was a quite heavy thing, so if you swung it against someone pretty hard, you know, you wouldn't be cutting them, but you would probably break a bone or two, even though it's wood, because it's basically like a baseball bat, right? Except because it has an edge to it, it sort of like centralizes all the force into like a more condensed point, so yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to get hit by it, let's just like say it in that way. And I was thinking about something and now I forgot what it was. Oh well, I'll think about it. I'll think about it, it'll come to mind if it's important enough. Okay, so we have all these buildings down here that need to be upgraded. So they can start giving us some crafting speed bonuses. Well, I guess for the clocker coops it's not so much that, but more just capacity on chickens. Sorry, clockers. Given how that's the name he gave them. Coolio. Let's get some of these holy potatoes regrown now. Should we... I think we can make do with just 4 builders and then reassign those 4 people into lumberjacks, because looking at my wood stockpile, it's not looking too great. What about any of the other jobs? Nah. I mean, we have plenty of storage for a lot of stuff, so we're kind of just in need of more people. Pebbles the doggo has joined your village. Nice. Let's clear out some of these buildings though, so that we can clear up our build limit. And I think as soon as you sort of click that demolish thing on the fire pit or whatever, the corruption resistance is immediately removed. So if I wanted to test if the corruption is truly gone down here, I would just have to remove these 2 large fire pits. Or not even remove, I would just have to like assign them for removal. Assign them for removal. What? Oh, it's not in range, so it's... Okay, so if it's not in range, and I can't even assign it to be deconstructed, and I can't... Like, it still provides corruption resistance. That's interesting. But yeah, if the corruption still exists somewhere, down here that is, all of this stuff would have like immediately become corrupted again. But since that didn't happen, I think it's pretty safe to just remove everything. Even as scary as it may be. Oh, Joseph. Stuck, buddy. Surely he's not dead. Doesn't look too good. Oh, he's incapacitated. Yeah, that's what happens when you get stuck in the middle of a forest and you're not a job type that can't remove trees. Your villagers will just kind of get stuck. That's how, like, yesterday I ended up getting some people sort of pass away because they got stuck in between the fence here and the wood line. The only thing you can do about that is being more observant. And in this game, I'm at least not that observant. Because I've gotten so used to the way the game works, I don't really get like worried about a lot of stuff that you would starting out as a new player. So I'm not too worried about enemy attacks in the night, especially not in the early days, because I know that they're not really a threat. Let's do like this. I do want to get these roads in here just for a little bit of added speed when moving around this place. We do also have these down here. Actually, couldn't we just make a line through? And how's this one down here? Let's do like this. There we go. I don't know if that path stays once it's fully upgraded. Like if it stays open like that. The answer to that would be a resounding no. It does not. So this idea doesn't really work. So we will still have to make our roads like this. And of course, a lot of our wood is also being used on that kind of stuff, so... Damn. We had a lot of people leave us. Oh yeah, a lot of people, holy shit. So much so that it's hard to figure out which people to like change jobs for. I think this is okay. Yeah, we've got a couple queued up. So migrated. Oh, ready to migrate. Okay. So that's gonna be almost everyone once they've all left. That we're sending away here. Which means that the next day we'll be sending away the very last ones. Wooden sword. Kinda sharp. Kinda sharp. Well, more splintery. Wood weapon that increases maximum damage. Useful for swinging at an enemy. But they require boards, actually. Okay. So they do need to process the harvested wood into boards, actually. Okay. That tells me that I might need another carpenter. And considering we could actually make some more lumber mills to improve that processing speed as well. Oh, they fit in pretty well down here. And if I do just two, that should be fine. Let's do a mining facility, or 2 or 3, just because there's a bunch of rock down this way. So if we build them here, just leave us with good like harvesting spot for them right next to it. Oh, there's a wild doggo. There's 2 wild doggos. We'll just chuck those over in the middle of the town. You don't have to be too careful where you stick them, as long as you don't put them into a college gate or like into a place where they get stuck. Oh, there's a 3rd one, jeez. Because then we have that quest to tame a bunch of doggos. So that's kind of nice. 3 is a really good amount. Because I think they only spawn on a daily basis, so you know, if a couple days in a row could happen where nothing spawns. I wonder if there's a 4th one down here. Jeez, not too shabby. I do wonder though if the like spawning of wild animals and such is also gated based on or sort of modified by the time of year you're in. I could see why that would be important, but you know, unless the game explicitly tells you that that's the case, there's no way of knowing. And I can't remember ever reading that anywhere, so it's safe to assume that that would be a no, but you never know. A suspicious key. Stick it in the chest, please. Because we still have a quest to complete. Also did just realize that actually not much of this stone is currently marked for harvesting. Let's do some stone down here too, just like I talked about earlier. And over here too. Well, I guess we're also spending our wood on this bowyer stuff now. Kind of gives me an idea. Where art thou? There it is. Build a wooden stockpile down here. Because I don't think the internal stockpiles of this this lumber shack and this lumber shack up here is going to be enough to satisfy the need down there. We also have some up here, but alright, and the courier stations got built. At least up to a makeshift quality. And these have also been upgraded. The second tier, so let's make the last upgrade. Now comes that thing about the whole marketplace situation again. Like, is it worth having multiple marketplaces? Yeah, we never ended up having the need for a first aid station or clinic. First aid station. It's far from the same thing. I guess for me they're just utilized as a first aid station. But you know, it's a clinic in it. Ooh, another key. Drop it. Drop it like it's hot. So, how much do I need to damage these? Because it continues burning for a good while after you leave them. Okay, so if I actually just do half of the hit points on these, and they're not within construction range, then the dot's probably gonna take care of the rest. Seems like it. Definitely does seem like it. Get that shit out of here. We don't need it anymore. Burn, fucker, burn. Okay. If I wanted to make another marketplace over here, I don't think it'll fit. No. It needs just a little bit more range. I don't think that the storages produce more range just from being upgraded. I know the houses, they definitely don't produce a lot of range either. I believe the ancillary does produce more if it's upgraded. See, that's 28 and this is 20. Yeah, so that one gets an upgrade, but we need a lot. Let's use some more motivate land on here. Get some of these potatoes regrowing because they're like going wild on that field. But that's also because they're trying to fill up all the stockpiles for food, which at this point, if you include all the farm areas, and the animal pens, makes for a pretty large stockpile. How about water? Actually, would it be interesting to keep track of... Is it clean water or is it dirty water? I think it's clean water. Because I know these water buckets partially represent your total water. But the thing is, the water buckets are also what's stored in the animal pens. So, but yeah, we definitely don't have enough water masters because these aren't even processing anything. little bit sketch. Because if you don't get water into the places that you need, well, shit. And these buildings both improve the harvesting speed of dirty water and the refining speed into pure water. So once you have like 4 of them, you're pretty good to go, because at that stage each of them actually also, you know, works 80% faster. So it's almost as if you have 8 of them. So if you made 5, it would be practically, I guess, as if you had 10 of them. Because you can't go higher than 99%, if I remember correctly. Or was it just 90%? It's one of those, of course. Just can't remember exactly which one. Would it be interesting to try and see how many water purifiers we need in order to actually... I was about to say fuel. I guess it kind of is a bit like fueling these these animal farms, isn't it? Animal pen. More. We still have such a massive build limit and haven't even built half of... Well, I guess we've kind of rounded down, built half of all the ancillaries, except... Oh wait, this one isn't even built yet. So I guess it's correct that we haven't even built half of them yet. And I already don't really need to build much more. Could you imagine having like 500 people on a map though? Like with the amount of food you need to produce and water in order to sustain them? Because that's the other beauty of it. For every villager you send off somewhere else, they kind of just end up in a limbo kind of state where they don't need to consume food or water until eventually when they do arrive in that next area. And that is very convenient. Okay, I was about to like build more houses that... Oh, I can't even put it there because of that fucking well. Okay. That were staggered upwards because it's like one tile away of being placeable, but I opted against it since I wanted the roads to be like continuable. I don't know, we don't really need more housing at the moment because we can practically almost have twice as many people in our village before we have to worry about that. But I did want to get that housing situation sorted. It's like you want to do it while you're still building up your village when you're about to move on to the next one. Because for each building that you build earlier, you don't have to have builders assigned later, right? Might be a little bit weird logic to have, but that's how I put it, I suppose. Now, can we make a marketplace? Now we can. Okay, here come all the immigrants. Had we sent across? Okay, we need to send 3 more across, so... Since we have 5 unemployed villagers, I suppose we don't want to necessarily assign more than 2. Because those remaining 3 will be leaving anyway. And as a result, you would just waste a bunch of time. Like the villagers' time. What are you doing over here? Idle. Not just because you're stuck. Yeah, this fountain is also not really... Yeah, all this water is like being moved into other places faster than it can like be produced. So I guess... How much water am I storing? Like, I've got 22 buckets out of 800. So considering that 20 those that can't be right. Those 23 buckets can't make up that 12,000 water. It has to count the water bottles too. There's just no other way. No other way. Because nothing else would make sense. Because where is that? All that water is surely not contained within 18 buckets of water. I guess that's kind of also a thing. As soon as the bottlers have finished bottling up so much water that we can't store anymore, then they'll kind of like take it a bit easy on consume or converting all our or water storage into portable water bottles. And each house has, yes, they have storage for the water bottles, but they can also store the water buckets, right? The same goes with food. If we were to look at, like, you know, raw meat and cooked meat, both of those can also be stored in each house. I think the same is for boiled eggs and raw eggs. That leaves you with a lot of stuff. 2 units? Come on, man. People are not into Stream Raiders today. It's a freaking blue chest. Come on, guys. Oh well. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that this is gonna work out without healing. Even though that unit is very strong. Yeah, it's just way too much critical mass coming in at once. I would hate to cancel this map. Just because there's not enough people. We have 1 retry token. This is the last chance we get, so people better pull themselves together. Though I guess at this point there's so few enemies that it might just be an automatic win as long as I put down a good unit. Oh well. I guess people don't really want to be part of a Stream Raiders thing when you lose the battle. And there's only like few people in there. Which is weird considering that it's a Saturday right now. But I guess that just goes to show how random Stream Raiders participation is. It's kind of weird. Okay, so having extended this lake area, we now can store more water whenever it rains, which let's actually build that lake up. Might as well. Wait, what? Eh? How's this? Oh, okay, there we go. So, water. Ah, thanks for that epic berserker there, mate. I think we'll be fine now, at least. On stream readers. Okay, so this crop field has pretty much been expanded out to its maximum capacity. There's a few more bonus tiles for plants that I can propagate into, but this is a pretty good sized field. Of course, I still have the crops over here that also, while it rains, will expand on their own. You don't have to use a motivate land spell. It just speeds it along drastically, and also works on rock structures, like mountainous things. Is that a meteor? Because I saw a little bit of fire there. Oh, thunder. It has to be a lightning strike. Of course. Oh, there's another wild doggo. Gotta be pretty close to completing that goal now. I mean, we have to be. Okay, let's take a look at our swords. See if we've... Okay, so we've sold almost 250. We're one short. Which means that we've produced about 250. We do currently have 130 in stock. That almost makes it 400, but we did have, I believe, some wooden swords before that, so we do have to account for that as well. Okay, so all our villagers have been sent? Yes. So we're not sending any more villagers. And I think that's probably a good thing, because we definitely need some people here working on all this stuff that needs to be built and upgraded and all that stuff. Stuffy stuff. Let's get some more lumberjacks. Lumberjacks. Yeah, these houses, not really that important. It's fine that they're not really being built at the moment. Maybe we should fast track this marketplace. Should we fast track the ancillary? I don't think so. It's not really that important. What about... Should probably check up on that. Let's see. Okay, we have plenty of storage for wooden swords still, so that is a non-issue. It's hard to tell where all the wood is going anyway, because it says like we have 108 planks, but there's like 7 in this lumber mill, and I guess the rest is gonna be located in all kinds of places. Oh right, we're also using all that stuff for making roads. I forget how expensive roads actually are, because if we think about it, it's 2 pieces of wood and 2 pieces of stone, out of which, right, because it's a 1-to-1 conversion when making planks? I think so. So you only need 1 wood to convert it into a plank. So it's just like, you know, processing time for the higher tier. So that does, however, mean that a cut stone and board road requires a log, piece of stone, piece of plank, and a piece of cut stone at the end. Which, if you just make like 100 pieces of road, that's already 400 resources. So it adds up really quickly. And since all the construction sites, if you will be distributed around your base, it's going to take time transporting resources back and forth as well. So I guess that would kind of explain why it's taking so bloody long to get any progress made, even with 89% wood harvesting speed. Feels ominous. What is going on? Okay, so we're having a blood moon. Blood moons are not that terrible. Anymore, at least. So it just kind of spawns in more enemies if you have enemy camps still around, and on top of that spawns in blood slimes like randomly across the map because it rains blood. It's just how it works. And those blood slimes are kind of scaled to the difficulty of the enemies, which goes up over time. So wait, was there a key? Oh, I didn't click it enough. Okay, just about to say, please go in the right direction. Just come on, come on, get to the center. God damn it. Ah, you little bastard. It's almost like trying to grab something extremely slippery and it keeps slipping out of your hands. Oh, you little shit. The monsters are enraged. Well, they can be enraged as much as they want. See if I care when they don't have a base to spawn from. Oh. Please. Maybe I need to cut like a deliberate path and sort of, what do you call it, cover it up with fence walls or something. This is annoying. I think I've had this on another map too, where it happens from time to time where you just have like world gen getting in the way. I guess another solution would be to like just throw in this entire forest so that the chest prioritizes a way around that entire forest instead of trying to go through. Because I bet you that it's only because there's this tiny sliver that the pathfinding for that chest is like, oh, I can go through here if I'm lucky. Let's try something different. I wonder, because it's raining blood, if it also affects the motivate land spell. Actually, kind of fucked, but I mean, wouldn't it make sense? It says that it's affected by rain, right? Could be funny if the trees grew up like blood red during the blood moon and you used the motivate land spell. A bit unnecessary, but could be a fun detail. It's not really like the colors of the trees have any kind of influence on the material. How much would you get or anything, as far as I know. Because there's quite a bit bit of different colors. I think that's pretty much only dependent on whether or not it's a shriveled up tree or not. But that's a different thing. Because those tend to like, or those spawn in, or not spawn in, the trees get converted into like shriveled trees whenever a drought happens. This is another event. Or some maps have them pre-generated as well. Okay, so I think that pretty much hatches up this entire forest. A bit hard to make out without a illuminate spell. But I'm not gonna waste my essence on lighting up an area, and might as well just use it to motivate land just one more time to be sure. That techno party is like still going on. Well, you know, maybe I'm being a bit too judgmental. Could also just be like some kind of what's another style of music in that subgenre, like another subgenre is like trance music. Could be that kind as well. Because I do hear like the faint sound of something that sounds like a voice, but it's hard to tell. Oh well. This college gate has just become completely enclosed in a deep dark forest. Let's see if this changes anything, or if this chest is just confused now. What? Where do you go? Hello? Damn it. Okay, I'll just ignore that. It's also because it's a blood moon. You'll notice that everything that's not lit up by crystals or something else is completely pitch black. Whereas on a normal light, it's usually bright enough for you to be able to see what's at least going on. Got like some blood slimes over here. But as you can see, they're like really low level compared to our golems that are like this one's level 16. So I'm not worried in the slightest. Oh yeah, that's another way to boost our water production actually. Now that I think about it. I was contemplating if I should do it or not, but until like 2 seconds ago I decided that it was a no, but now I've changed my stance on it, I guess. So now we're just going to be making some rain collectors, which are very efficient at, you know, generating water without requiring, you know, your workers to do a lot of work, which is the main draw towards them, is that they sort of operate themselves, right? So all you have to do is make them and potentially upgrade them, and then as long as it's raining, it'll automatically fill up. That way your water masters and farmers as well just have to pick up the water and move it where it has to be. Six days till winter. Okay. No problemo. Okay, this lake, I'm tired of looking at you. I mean, I call it a lake, but I don't know if that's like appropriate anymore. More like a pond, and soon to be a puddle, and then non-existent. Okay, so that marketplace got fast-tracked, and I'll queue up another one. Because why not? Okay, we haven't really sold that many extra swords. Doesn't mean that we haven't produced many necessarily, though. Let's just go back to the world map and see how our progress is doing. And then see if we got some other quests while we're there. Oh yeah, we did the loot boxes thing. Nice. Oh geez, and we got a chest. Oh, we did create 400 swords in any region. Nice. 10% increased influence generation. Huh. What does that mean? Does it mean that... Because there's that discrepancy between essence and influence. So influence is the bar that like sort of governs how much essence you can store. But I wonder if this actually means essence generation. So like whenever something decomposes, you get more essence out of it or whatever. Because I don't think anything else really makes any sense. And some dart tower energy cost reduction. Okay. And the loot box. Ghost appearance chance. Okay. Well, it makes some quests a bit easier to accomplish, I suppose. And if we do the 20 doggos thing, that gives us 3 different perks. 2100 XP, so they're bound to be good perks as well. Oh, this one. Enchanted shoreline, level up 65 villages. Oh. We gotta send a whopping 15 stone balls via courier golems to Springland. It's gonna give us basically nothing. Oof. Okay, let's go to Sandy South because it's the only place that we can send things to Springland. See if we've got some stone balls and send them along. I don't know if we're selling them though, because obviously if we're selling them it might mean that I don't even have any in stock. Actually, let's just check here. Resource list. Okay, we have 122, no problem. No nearby rocks, you say. Springland. There's just 15. It's like nothing. There's literally nothing. I'm pretty certain at least that there's just 1 stone to make 1 stone ball, so it's basically nothing. Okay, we have 3 tumblers here. Can I remember where they're located? No. Huh. They say no stone nearby. Yeah, we do have a rock deposit. I guess it's just not being restocked is all. Yeah, on this map we have 77,000 water. Oh, I think we might also just have, yeah, we also have a good amount of water masters still. Oh yeah, and most importantly, we've reached the bottled water limit. Allowing for more to like be stored in the buildings. We're still getting supplies sent here as well. Like this doggo just came in with courier golem, I guess, came in with a bunch of weapons. Where is it going? It's like going somewhere else now. Oh wait, is it going down to the courier station? Hold on. Oh, it is. Wait, so does that mean that courier golems, they can... they don't commit suicide if you have courier stations, then they just like wait in line or something? Because it seems like we've got some courier golems just hanging out here outside of the station. Because we can have 8 out of 8, but there's only 6 spots for golems. So I wonder for each of these... Yeah, like this one only has 6 out of 8. Oh, that's interesting. So for each of these courier stations, we have a buffer of 2 additional golem slots. Where if you receive like golems from another... or materials through a courier golem from another area, I guess they just stay alive and move on to the next map. I mean, they have levels, but I don't know if it really matters. The stats should, though. I think this is... yeah, also increase movement speed and work speeds. And this is attack speed, I believe. It doesn't affect... yeah, it doesn't affect movement speed, at least. So if they have high dexterity, they will be moving along faster. I think they can also have more hit points based off of strength, right? Yeah, also increases hit points. How many resources they can carry and work speeds. Okay. So golem stats, courier golem stats matter. And that's pretty interesting. I think there's god perks for like gaining dex and strength percentage increases as well. Where, if I'm right on that, means that whenever you get those upgrades, it makes all your courier golems more efficient too. I mean, it also affects your villagers, of course, but for my current needs, it's kind of nice to have golems that are a little bit, or couriers that are faster. And, you know, them being more durable definitely doesn't hurt when they're going through enemy territory, so... because that does happen from time to time, like it did on this map. The courier golems would come in... no, not on this map, sorry. On another map, they would come in like right around where the corruption was spawning. And as a result, the enemies from the corrupted lands would like lash out at those courier golems coming through. Now they would just continue moving on and ignore them and hardly take any damage because they were, you know, level 10. Which, as long as you deal with the corruption early, they don't really become that strong. Okay, well, not really much I can do here and need to do here other than send those stone balls along to Springland. Wait, have I already done that? Did I already do that? And I just didn't notice? Because I might have. I did. Cool. Okay, that was pretty painless. Whoa, that's nice. Plus 4 building slots? Dude. What? How is that? So I guess you can't really go by the amount of XP and how hard the quest is. It's just completely random, huh? Because that's a really good one. If we look at the god perks I have. Here. Plus 5 building slots. Like we got one on another stream, which was just a +1, but this was a +4. Jeez. So that basically means whenever we settle in a new area, we just have 4 more build slots to work with now. Nice. Now I wonder about this leveling up of villagers though, because I don't think it's going to be hard to complete, given how Enchanted Shoreline is already well established. And we have 60 migrants en route here because Narrow Path is connected to 2 places. And then we have Valencia, which only has 17. So if we go to where we started, actually, we can maybe both level up, so get some villagers to level up, while also sending some more people across. Yeah, let's actually just do that, I guess. Now the thing is, I don't know how long it's gonna take to level up your villagers. Because we can, you know, go in here and... No, we can't. I thought we would be able to see their levels in here. Oh wait, we can. I forget that villagers, they gain... Like, our highest level villagers, level 35. They must swindle here. So, as you can see, their dexterity and strength is really high. But she's also... Yeah, she's a 41-year-old elder, and her life expectancy is 44, so she doesn't have long to live anymore. She being a elder, though, does also have an effect, so... You know, your villagers can only do work in the colony as long as they're not considered elders, but as soon as they become elders, they jump out of the peon role, I don't know what you want to call it, and become a mentor instead. So from then on, they will help train your newer, younger people into getting better stats so that the next generation is better suited for all the jobs that you need them to do. Well, it's been like so long since I've been on this map, so we've definitely still got some resources going here. Holy hell. Like being sent off. That's a lot of food. What about the... Where are they even? Ah, migration way stations. Okay, so we're only sending off a total of 20. Let's change that. So that would make it 40 for Valencia. Look at that swirly tree line on these maps. The developer, he definitely, you know, did a good job on making the world maps look interesting, even as like a preview. It's a very interesting way of making your levels more appealing. Well, what can we do? Could go for the adult section here. And then... Don't know why the earthquake... Oh yeah, I was experimenting with the earthquake spell at that point. And then there is this divine blessing. But before we do that, let's see. Okay, we've got 8 units now. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. I'm certain we'll all be able to do this now. But it's also the last attempt that we get, so if we were to fail this, it would be a little bit sad, given that it's a blue chest. Alright. So the question is, should I actually grant a random reward, or should I give it to K Sleepy? K Sleepy? It sounds like half Danish for some reason. Well, you're lucky, K Sleepy. You get 200 coins regardless. I would probably have given it to you anyway. But I don't like to have to worry and think about reward distribution. If people want rewards, they just have to participate, and that's just how it is. Now, because of that whole situation, any future maps are going to be pretty damn easy. But put down your units anyways, so that we can get to the boss eventually. Hmm. No reason for my cam to be that big. Scale it down a little bit. Okay, so we only have one person in excess. It's fine though. So if we give you a blessing, your next child should be a Nephilim. Will it matter considering that this map is like pretty much done and also very far away from everywhere else? Maybe. Like, will we ever get to? Okay, I guess I didn't hit the right one. Essence is required. I forget how expensive this spell is. Okay, Tracy, you're gonna drop all your shit, but you're gonna be blessed. Okay, anyone else who's pregnant? Nope. Okay. There we go. It's like a little extra thing you can do when there's not really much else to worry about on the map. And then we'll see if it ever becomes relevant, so if at some point we're sending more people onto the other maps, we might be lucky that those pregnant women have given birth and those children are old enough to also be sent off to the other area. Look at all these keys we got here though, jeez. Why do we have so many here? Now, I seem to recall that we did have a lot of keys here, but I'm a little bit surprised to see that we have that many. Yeah, we have 16 keys in the whole village. Oh yeah, down here is my earthquake testing. As you can see, it kind of just fucks up the terrain greatly. It does leave you with all this rock though, and if you harvest it, it does have like mountainous terrain underneath, so you can regrow it with the Motivate Land spell. But I don't know if that's such a nice way of going about it, because it also creates pits, and sometimes it, instead of generating rocky terrain, it'll destroy it. So it's like got like a threshold where the randomness of the spell just plateaus to a point where you don't get more stone really, you're just shifting them around. That's okay. Okay, game. 2 people dying at the exact same time. Out of natural causes nonetheless. But maybe I just haven't been as proactive on this map when it comes to... Where the heck did... Oh, there. When it comes to discovering these loot chests, because you have to find them on those... Or you have to find those blue halos here and there. And spawn in randomly, like this one. And they only last for so long. This is another key. Now, I was wondering if I should start sending keys away from this area, but... I don't want to be shuffling keys around. I'd rather just, like, return to these places later and have a bunch of keys in store. Because this colony has also survived for way longer than any of the other colonies. Like, if you really think about it, 41 days, right? That's more than twice that of 2 of the other colonies combined. Depending on which ones you pick, of course. And that's a pretty stark time difference. But it's also, we're on year 2 on this map as the only place, I'm pretty sure. Which is like understandable because it takes quite a while to get through the days once you get up and have a thriving colony, simply because the game runs slower. But at least not as bad as with RimWorld. RimWorld just turns into a slow piece of shit. In lack of a better description, I guess. Light. Well, not really like that matters. So we were leveling up villagers, or waiting for villagers to level up rather. It was a little bit difficult when there's so many and you don't really get... I think if I open up the notifications thing, I might be able to get notified whenever someone levels up, but it doesn't really help me keep track of it. And we like already beat the quest, so not too terrible. Crystal golem capacity, now that's what I like to see. Crystal golems, here we go. Those are fucking awesome. And we've almost hired enough cat jeets as well in order to get this objective. Coolio, and then we just got a bunch of more to generate. Does mean we can go back to Springland. It's not The Simpsons. And continue on a little bit. We still have a lot of stuff that we can do around here in terms of building things, but if I remember correctly, we had sent... yeah, we've sent 60 along. We're not sending any more at the moment because we don't really have the population to do so. Well, we could send people along, you know, we've got eligible people, but I don't really want to send too many people along to the point where this colony becomes incapacitated and not able to do enough things. Now, since we've also made all the wooden swords that we needed for that quest, I'll just stop making more because it's a bit of a waste of wooden resources to have like more swords than you even have people. Especially if you're not intending on even moving them along and using them in other areas. I just don't think that it's worth it, worth the hassle. Part of it being that for each golem that you send along that has to transport a different kind of resource, it takes longer for the resources to like be sent over, since there's only so many things you can receive in one day. So instead of bloating up the resource pool that sort of gets sent over, if you can say it like that, I would rather just only send the things that that I kind of need, aka resources that are just used for building and such, and a few tools. Tools don't hurt. Tools and things out of iron are just iron ingots. But I don't ever send iron ingots over. Can you even store it in this building? I would assume so. Yes. Okay. Obviously, right now we can store 80 of everything that's listed down here. Which, can you even see that? Yeah, you can see that. But in the beginning, it's way less than that because this building has so many upgrades, right? But yeah, so these crystal golem combobulators can now have 6 in them instead of 5 when they're fully upgraded. So how many upgrades do they have? Is it 4 or 5? Because I think it only starts out with one golem normally? Can I even see that before putting it down? Let's check. Should be able to. Ah, maximum golems 3. So without that increase, it would only be 2. So that's already like a 50% increase in the amount of golems that I can have generated at one time, just to begin with. Of course, it's only for the first upgrade, I know. But, you know, it's another space for a golem for free. So it effectively means that you need 50% less buildings in the beginning in order to get the same amount. And look at all these resources being sent over. You will notice that they'll be splitting off, going in different directions, and sort of, you know, there's 2 golems here transporting crystal, which one of them could easily transport both of them. But I guess that's just what happens when you have multiple courier stations. They sort of spread out the resources between your golems. It's okay. I would have preferred it to like send less at a time, so that you don't get like a small trickle of resources over time instead of, you know, receiving it all at once. Because that's kind of what's causing the situation where I'm still receiving tools on certain maps so long time after even beating the corruption. Because whatever I'm receiving on a map pretty much tends to be stuff that's been sent before I even started on it. So if you're still receiving resources way after you've beaten the corruption, it kind of gives you an idea of how long it just ends up taking before all the resources have been moved across, if you sort of dilute your shipments too much. But that's just a caveat of that's part of the game, I guess. Going through the path in the dark forest. What's the time? Okay. Oop. Is it a key? Is it a chest? It's a chest. Yay. Just what we wanted. Come on. At least this one knew how to get back home. Hippicus. Rank same. Which, by the way, for those that don't know, can you even see that? Oh, you can see that. Oh, that's not what I wanted. No Streamlabs. Bad Streamlabs. There is a Twitch integration into this game. Doesn't do much, but it's kind of cool. What it does is that the names from viewers can get utilized in the game, so that you can end up having a villager receive the name of people in Twitch chat, which is kind of interesting. A little bit like RimWorld and TTK, but obviously you can't buy stuff for this game. Dunk, dunk. Just checking to see if all these things are even fully upgraded. Because it's taking our villagers quite a while to get it done, but it's also because this requires a lot of resources. What about the houses? Yeah, they haven't even begun on this yet. Okay then. I do like the music in this game. It's very chill. It even has his own music player here. So if you wanted to hear like a specific song, it's right there, but as you can tell, there's not that much variety, so if you have as long as you keep the game music on like a low volume, it doesn't necessarily shine through as much that it's fairly repetitive. But you know, though each song has like a specific song like individual tune to it, they're at least fairly long and they don't have much of like a repeating pattern, so and that's really what you want to do with background music. Like some games, background music is just like you know, 3 to 4 minutes of the same 6 keys being played in a certain pattern over and over again, with like some kind of beat going to support it. I don't like that kind of stuff. Because that comes off as very lazy and poorly executed music. Now, it doesn't mean that your music has to be awfully complex. I mean, just look at Breath of the Wild. In that game, you almost don't have any music. You just have the occasional like keystrokes being played at like, I guess, I wonder how actually it generates in game, because it's not like, you know, in a game where it's very obvious that you're now in a battle mode and it's playing battle music. I mean, it does that for Breath of the Wild, of course, but there's those notes that get played when you're out just exploring. All of a sudden you just hear those stuff like that, and it sort of reminds you that there is like some kind of mysteriousness to the explorative part of the game, and I don't know, it's like it's background environmental music that doesn't really feel like it overshadows the rest of the experience, which is a very different way from how, you know, Zelda games music has been incorporated into the series in the past, with like each dungeon having its dungeon-wide theme, each boss having its own piece of boss music, which you also have that in Breath of the Wild. You know, a stone talus will always have the same boss music as far as I remember. I don't think there's any variations to that rule, so. And I think that's pretty important in that case too. Like the music for a stone talus, just as an example, is using a lot of instruments that gives you this tribal like feel to it, which makes it pretty fitting with a monster that's made entirely out of stone, you know. And it's also a fairly barbaric kind of enemy. And that's like a thing that a lot of game music sort of utilizes, you know. Try and incorporate some kind of instrumental theme apart from the way that the music is composed, which is a pretty cool way of doing it. It's also like, isn't the stone talus music like it kind of in sort of reminiscent of something that's big and like clunky, which would also be very fitting. I don't know. I used the wrong spell. Goddammit. But that's just like kind of how I remember it at the moment. Speaking of Breath of the Wild though. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. That is a very peculiar and interesting title. Now, I've not really been a big fan of the Warrior series because I didn't grow up with those kind of games, so I've actually still yet to play a Warrior series game. Now, when I say it that way, it doesn't mean that I don't like the game genre at all. That's far from the truth. It feels like a game genre that I definitely do like. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played hundreds of hours of Hyrule Warriors, including all 3 versions of the original one for 3DS, then Wii U, and wait, wasn't it Wii U? Yeah, it was Wii U, wasn't it? And then subsequently the Switch. No, wait, how was it again? It was the opposite way around, wasn't it? It was the Wii U first, then the Switch. No, sorry, not Switch, 3DS, and then the Switch. Yeah, that's how it was. I got them mixed up, sorry. Where they like sort of toned down some of the enemy masses on the 3DS version in order for it to be playable, but then incorporated like some extra game mechanics to still allow you to hit those KO thresholds you needed in order for you to beat some of the objectives. It's a very interesting way that they sort of designed the game around those technical limitations. But then there's Age of Calamity, and I like the storyline without spoiling too much if you haven't played it. I mean, it's been a while, so if you were ever considering playing it on your own Switch, you know, probably should have done that already. Like, I like the idea of the story. I think it's a very interesting way of doing a what do you call it? Different kind of Zelda story. Because what they did with the original Hyrule Warriors was also really cool, where it was a story centered around a multiverse connected Hyrule, which was also coincidentally, you know, a much more prominently militarized one. They kind of did the same for Age of Calamity too. Like the war side of Hyrule definitely shines through way more in that game than you do in a regular Zelda game, even Breath of the Wild, with all its ruins and garrisons that are destroyed and even the massive fortresses and stuff. But game mechanic wise, Age of Calamity is like a far cry from the prequel, or not even it's not a prequel, but the original Hyrule Warriors. There are some things that are improvements for sure, but I really do, like, you know, trying to phrase it correctly, I really miss the adventure mode from the original Hyrule Warriors. A lot of people seem to really not like the fact that there's so much to do in the old version of like the old Hyrule Warriors. But I mean, having played hundreds of hours in it and still haven't done everything there is to do is fine, because, like, with me personally, because there's, you know, I've had a good amount of fun, and I stopped playing it when I felt like I had a fill rather than being forced to because there was no content anymore. And the way that they structured it with the adventure mode in the original Hyrule Warriors just worked better, where there was always something that you could improve. There was always like some challenge maps to look forward to, because it literally takes you hundreds of hours to beat them all, because if every map lasts for, you know, a couple minutes, even just doing every single map once, which some of them you have to repeat to get all the rewards and stuff, you know, that just accumulates into hundreds of hours. There's just no way around it. And with Age of Calamity, everything being on the same world map, and there's no like I really like that adventure map minigame thing where I had to collect item cards and even interact with the world map itself. That I really think was a cool way of doing like a post main game open world experience within a Warriors like title. Because, you know, the main storyline, if you will, for Hyrule Warriors, the first one, the original, is like you can complete it within a day if if you set aside enough time for it, of course. And it's not that difficult either. But, you know, the bulk of the game is that exploration adventure mode thing, which is also where you unlock most of the upgrades, like tier 2 weapons and tier 3 weapons. With Age of Calamity, you don't even need to unlock the higher tier weapons, and the stats on the weapons are also not really well represented. Because basically you get an item, in case you're unaware, and it'll show you how strong it is in numbers, like what the strength of the item is. And a low value weapon will be around like 8 in strength, where a later game one will be about 30 something, I believe. Can't remember it too well. And the problem is, once you start upgrading the stats, unless you have a physical written down like overview of the items that you've collected and noted down the starting point, you can't ever go back and figure out what the starting point was, unless you do like some reverse math bullshit, because the game doesn't tell you where it started at. Which means that later on, if you get a new weapon and it has like 28 strength or whatever, and your current weapon is of the same type but has been upgraded like to, 30 times or something, it's impossible to know if this new weapon in actuality will result in a higher stat line later on, because you can't compare the baseline stats in any way. So the only thing you have to go by is the tier of the weapons, which is also a thing. But the tiers system in this Hyrule Warriors is a bit more fluid too, where it's like, once, from what I could tell at least, as soon as a weapon goes beyond a certain threshold in terms of how strong it is, it just jumps to the next tier. But it can like grow within like even the 3rd tier, which is the max, beyond just, going there. For reference, in the original Hyrule Warriors, each item had 3 tiers, like weapon type had 3 tiers, and within each tier you had a star rating of 1 to 5 stars, if I remember correctly, where if you get the maximum amount, basically the highest quality, the baseline stats will always be the same no matter what quality it is. So as long as you get the highest amount of stars, you get the strongest quality you can for that tier of the weapon. Makes it pretty easy to figure out what you should be going for. Both Age of Calamity, like especially for Link, they've sort of just reused all the weapon assets from Breath of the Wild, so there's like a billion different sword visual variants, making it impossible to tell whether or not it's a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 weapon, even just by looking at it. For most of the other characters, it's fine though, because each of them, or most of the other characters, can only use one type of weapon. So for those characters, they have 3 distinct visual like representations for their weapon, representing one of the 3 different tiers. But for Link, it's like you can have a soup ladle, which is like a T1 class weapon, which would be in the same category as a branch weapon. But then what about like later game stuff, like, you can get ancient weapons that have pretty high stats. But then you can also get Royal Guard armor weapons, which also have high stats. And if you go by Breath of the Wild, it's not that simple, because the Royal Guard stuff, the black weapons, is it the Royal Guard? Because there's the royal weapons, and then, or whatever, that have that gold accented details to them. And then there's the blackened stuff, which has like even higher damage in Breath of the Wild, but their durability is absolute trash. So it's a little bit wonky there. Boy, you get a Musketeer Scroll. Chronos, you get 2 Bomber Scrolls, and we had 23 units. Like, that's what I like to see. People are waking up. It's good. Goody good. The game doesn't really seem to care, though. So we might get some pretty fast and easy wins. Oh well. Move it up. Move it up. Let's actually just do like this. Should be fine for you guys, I hope. So yeah, the item system in the Breath of the Wild Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity game isn't exactly well structured, and you run out of content so quick. Because unlike in the adventure mode from the previous Hyrule Warriors title, there's not a lot of universally, what do you even call it, there's not a lot of missions that can be engaged by every character in the game. And there's no mechanic where once you've beaten like a certain mission once, it allows you to do it with any character either. So more than half of all the levels in the game are locked to a specific set of characters, meaning that if some enemies spawn in those particular maps that you would like to farm, you have to use that character, and if that character is max level, you can't gain XP. So it would be nice to be able to just access all those maps with all your other characters like you could in the original Hyrule Warriors. And in the original Hyrule Warriors, each map on the adventure mode had a grading system too, where if you did a really good job, you get the rewards, or like that's how you get the all the rewards for those maps. But that also doesn't exist here. You just beat the maps, actually, right? Because there's no grading in Age of Calamity either. So as soon as you beat a map, that's it. You've beaten the map. And difficulty also doesn't matter anymore, because it only makes the game harder or easier. It doesn't affect your rewards, so you don't get more or less material from what I've tested. The item quality on items doesn't improve. The drop rate on items doesn't improve. So you might as well play the game on the easiest difficulty, honestly. And especially with the DLC that they put out, which took forever for them to do in comparison, at least it feels like it in comparison to what they did with the original Hyrule Warriors. Because I feel like that game came out with DLC when I bought it. Like, in comparison, it took like several months before we got any type of like new content for Age of Calamity, which is kind of shit. Hey man, how's it going? Hey Cronius. I'm doing pretty fine. Just chilling out with some Rise to Runes. How are you doing? Just kind of waiting for us to be able to do another map. Like, we've already sent immigrants across, and I'm just upgrading things around here. Which actually we could... Oh wait, was that one quest I needed to do? Can't remember. And then I'm also just kind of talking about and ranting a little bit about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. In case you've played that. Oh, we did get this objective. Yeah, I guess checking out here wasn't a complete waste of time, at least. Storm spell cost reduction and harvest spell cost reduction. Storm spell and harvest spell. Storm spell cost reduction is nice because it means you can start using that feature earlier and cast the Motivate Land spell more often. And we don't really have any objectives. Should we go and establish ourselves a narrow path, maybe? What do you guys think? Because it would either be that or with an edge. There's still some people that need to be sent across for some reason from Sandy South. Huh. Guess narrow path would make the most sense. Then we could send more people to Valencia from there as well. Yep, let's do it. But yeah, Cronus, how are you doing? And this little tune only plays whenever you start a new map. Lone Sunrise. Like for some reason the music player never switches to this on its own. No idea why. Okay, I have a feeling the game developer really wants you to settle down around these houses. Like, definitely feels like it. And I think that's probably also the best idea. Because if we build up here, then the corruption might spawn like down here. Or over here somewhere. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get this chest. 20, okay, so we still only get 25. Only. Still a lot of people. Okay, they all... Oh no, they come from 2 different directions. Good, good, good. Just as I expected. That's another cool feature. Actually. Something you don't really get to see until you get further into the game, so as such it's a little bit surprising for me to finally see it happening. So we've got a lot of rock on the left hand side and some forest on the right, so let's build a lumber shack over there. Let's already start dismantling some stuff. I'm not a fan of some of these things. I want to keep the radiance pool though. Okay, we have a few crops up here as well. That's probably why the developer put in a farm, but I will just completely ignore that. Where do we want to have a lumber mill though? Let's just put it there. And a stone cuttery here. Harvesting, mining facility. Okay, then once that's built, we can build a mining facility. Oh, shoot. We need to fucking mark some resources first. Sleeping over here, I guess. But yeah, imagine having the corruption spawn on this little patch of land up here because you're building the southern end of the map. That would be such a pain to deal with because of all these rocks that is encircling that area. Don't want to deal with that for sure. Yeah, there's not going to be much room to expand, so maybe expanding down to the southeast would be a good idea. So we can sort of promote the corruption from spawning into spawning in the bottom left corner. Definitely don't want to promote them into spawning in the top right. That would be a pain in the ass. And they would also just explode out into this nasty crevice area due to how the whole corruption thing works. Hmm. Water purifiers. Water purifiers. We can have a little well here. No, wait. Let's do a large fountain here in that corner. And also a well, but let's do that up here maybe. Let's do a landfill. I'm not exactly sure where I want to put this. Almost fits right up there, but that would be a terrible spot though. Let's just put it down here. Fudge. Where do we want the fudge? Okay, let's put it up here. No workers. Production set, just create until we are good. No available cut stone. Sure, let's queue that up as well. Okay, let's do a crystillery and then a crystal harvestery. I guess we can always sort of split the forest and the crystal area at some point. Definitely want to get rid of that rock. Oh, there's a radiance pool here as well. Oh, okay. It's kind of cool how they hand those to you. Let's do a essence collector up here because stone mining. The music is kind of like how in the old Anno games they put just in a bunch of classical music. Except, you know, this music is, as far as I know, pretty original. Whereas the ones in the old Anno games is like popularized classical music. Been ages since I've played those games. Not the newer Annos, mine, just the old ones. Damn, I've wasted so many hours in that shit. Well, spent. Invested. I don't have any houses yet either, which we should start building some of those ASAP. We currently have 25 people, so 5 houses would do the job, but oh, can't build anymore, right. Guess I'll just have to wait until we upgrade. They're probably not doing too well, the villagers, considering they're sleeping out and about. I know we don't have any available crystal because the crystal harvester is not built yet. Oh, let's actually have our spells here. Mend. No, recall, right? And then mend. Because if I don't put these in the right places, my habits just accidentally trigger the wrong spells and then people die. And we can't have that happen. That would be kind of terrible, at least. Is there any other spell we will need? Can't even assign the shoot. Can't even assign the storm spell when we can't afford it. Oh, guess I'll just put conjure material so I don't accidentally do something I regret. Now we've already quickly run out of mineral storage. So let's put down, oh yeah, building slots. That was the thing we came from, wasn't it? One crystal harvester should be more than adequate. I don't know, I was kind of in the middle of talking about Age of Calamity before switching over, so focus totally switch over into like getting established here. Wild Antler, is there any doggos? There is. It's actually 2, it seems. But yeah, as I was also talking a little bit about getting into a little bit with Age of Calamity. One thing is that they took a very long time to get DLC in there, but then the DLC that they put in there wasn't really that great in my opinion. It's like they tried sort of implementing things that at least myself expected to already be included in the base game when you bought it. Going back to the thing I was saying earlier about God fucking damn it. About a lot of the missions, like more than half of all the missions were character specific ones, leaving you with only a small handful of missions that were even worth doing in endgame. Which means that when the only thing worth doing in endgame is like 5% of your game, there's basically no endgame. At least not in comparison to the original Hyrule Warriors, where 90% of the game was endgame. Because beating the story was, you know, the tutorial basically. And with the DLC for like, you can just see how much it differentiates itself from the original Hyrule Warriors. You get 2 new weapons, for instance, and each of those weapons have 3 different tiers, but the only thing that distinguishes them from each other is that they are visually different from what I know. They have all the same baseline stats, so unless there's some kind of hidden stats that isn't explicitly explained in the game, they are the exact same. Except you have to unlock them one by one. Like, what? I don't quite understand. And then, other than that, what it introduces is a bunch of missions that are repeatable and a quest/mission generation system that adds in more challenging missions for your in-game needs. It also increases the level cap by a little bit in terms of weapon levels. I don't seem to remember if it increased the level cap on heroes or characters, which by the way is 100 as far as I know, or can recall from Age of Calamity, where in Hyrule Warriors, the original, it got tuned up to 255. To be fair, that happened after a couple of a lot of updates on the original Hyrule Warriors, so you know, that's not really a fair comparison anyway. I'll let that one slide at least. Okay, we can have some doggo houses in this little cavity. But yeah, the DLC basically was a major letdown. Because I was hoping for it to like add a bunch of worthwhile content, but the missions they implement is like go into this level, beat up a few like trash mobs, and then a huge big strong enemy spawns, of which that enemy being unknown to you before you enter the mission until you buy an upgrade. And some of those bosses are like so tanky that, at least with the equipment that I've been using on my highest level characters even, it takes so long to do the missions that I fall asleep. Like, you can consider it difficult or whatever, but the only thing that's really tricky is the fact that the enemies have a lot of hit points. At that part in the game, your equipment and everything else is more than should be more than adequate enough to deal with the like skill required in order to deal with their movement, like attack patterns. Like, you've played the game enough at that point, so that shouldn't be an issue, because they're just tankier versions of already existing enemies, meaning that they included a new enemy variant of a moblin that has like a keg on his back that it throws at you, but other than that, they didn't really implement anything else worth mentioning. Now, they did include a new character, which is really cool as a playable one, but which was rather unexpected, the one that you unlock at the very end, and that was very cool. But it's just like, by the time you even unlock that one, there's nothing left to do. You've done all the content in the DLC, so it's back to grinding the same missions over and over and over again that aren't really that interesting, and the ones added through the DLC aren't that interesting either, because they add in like 4 or 5 different noteworthy quests in the end that are like worth doing, one which you can use to like grind rupees with, and that one mission should be spread out between like at least 30 missions or something that are distributed between like some kind of like progression, instead of just being like, oh, you can repeatedly play the same level over and over and over again, because that particular level isn't randomly generated either. So it's not like it's the same, it's a particular objective that then gets sort of put into different maps. No, it's the exact same map every single time. Here's the corruption, by the way. Well, that's a pretty good spot, actually. And that kind of just ticked me off, that they did such a poor job with the DLC. Having waited for so long, and the price of the DLC compared to what they've already accomplished with the old Hyrule Warriors. And that's not even talking about the re-releases for the newer consoles, but just the Wii U versions. Even I would even say is better than Age of Calamity. And like, by a long shot, just go and play the definitive edition of Hyrule Warriors instead, if you want, you know, a lot of stuff to unlock and aim towards, you know, actual content. But, you know, it is what it is. And you would think that since they're seemingly just like ripping assets straight from Breath of the Wild into a different game, that they would be able to spend a lot more time on creating like unique character designs and stuff, but it really does feel like a step down. For instance, in comparison, in Hyrule Warriors, every single item in there and a lot of the characters also have unique designs to them. And, you know, they could do a bit more there because it's this multiverse standalone universe, which is sort of a side thing to the rest of the Zelda timeline, if you will. Like, they technically have their own for that game. Whereas with Age of Calamity, they're just stuck in this Breath of the Wild universe. So, yay, you get to see and fight, you know, the 4 Blights of Ganon again in a different game. Exact same, no, not exact same models and attack moves, but they were very, very similar. And it's still, they're still just the Blights. It's just a different version because different timeline and stuff. That's the only thing. And you don't really get many unique characters that get introduced with Age of Calamity. You get a few, like Master Koga has a, what do you call it, a henchman named Sorga, and unfortunately you don't even get to play him in the base game. Like, what the fuck? You don't get to play as adult or like younger versions, technically speaking, versions of Robbie and Pura, which are the scientists present in Breath of the Wild, which is something I was looking forward to at least doing, like playing some new characters, god damn it. You do get to play all the champions and stuff, but even they use like just weapons you've already seen in Breath of the Wild. Like, Mipha obviously uses the silver scale trident, and then like 2 slight design variations of it. Or is it even that? I think it's just the Sora's like different versions of the Sora's spear even. And it's just like, I don't know. It feels like they were slacking a little bit in terms of original content for that game. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I think the multiverse concept from the original Hyrule Warriors definitely is way more interesting, because it allows for more original character designs. It allows for more unique abilities, things that don't have to adhere to, you know, canon stuff. So there's that at least. I don't know. What else? Like, other than that, it's... What else did they remove? They also don't... I mean, they have the runes, which are kind of cool. That's about one of the... That's at least one of the things they did a really good job. So they have the runes from Breath of the Wild present in Age of Calamity as well. But due to certain circumstances, everyone can use those runes, so as a result, like if you were, I would compare those to the utility items in the original Hyrule Warriors, where no matter which character in the original Hyrule Warriors you used, the utility items will always do the exact same. In Age of Calamity, those runes vary based on what character you are, so depending on what character you are, the bomb rune, for instance, will work in a completely different way, which is one of the places I could see where a lot of their attention has been put into, and I really applaud that. I think it's really great, because that means that those, like, it's a very interesting thing to work with, because it's that what-if scenario. What if everyone had their own style of the different runes that Link gets to use in regular Breath of the Wild? I think that's pretty cool. And it's probably also why they did it, right? Get some bombs in here. But yeah. I mean, I would recommend it. It's a good game, but it's also very short in comparison. Like, I don't think I've even played as many hours of Age of Calamity as I have the Wii U edition of Hyrule Warriors. And still, in terms of pure content, 100%ed Age of Calamity already. And I don't even think... I think I'm about like 60% there on the Wii U edition. It's been so long, of course, so I don't remember. But like, on the Wii U edition, I still don't have any max level characters in comparison, which I almost have. I have multiple characters that are very close to max level and have one that's max level. So, you know, they could have done way better, I feel. And since the DLC ends up like implementing some of the things that should have been in the base game, like quests that are more missions that are more general, that can be used done by other characters and stuff, that's just a really bad sign. Ooh, you get 20 coins and boy, you get 15. Thanks for helping out, everybody. We're on to the boss battle. I think this is going to be the last one for today. It's not been an awfully long stream today, but as I did say earlier today, and you know, it's worth repeating, I finally released my RimWorld mods. So I will give you some heals, and I hope you will help me out on this boss fight. There we go. And then let's enjoy the last few minutes, or half an hour, few minutes, all relative, of Rise to Ruins. But yeah, I released my, not first, but it's my second, can't really say second RimWorld mod, because I released 3 separate mods, but they're all designed to work together, so it's like, don't know how you would simplify talking about that. But anyways, I released those today at least. I needed to do a lot of tweaking before I could publish them. There was a lot of text that needed to be formatted correctly, and it just ended up taking like several hours. And I also was working on the mod yesterday and the day before, I think, as well. So suffice to say, I'm very happy that I am finally like done with releasing it, at least. But I do foresee that it will require some more tweaking. But that is future Dragon's problem. Current Dragon just needs to relax and do nothing for a little bit. That's like one of my favorite things to do as well. Whenever there's like something where I like really don't want to do it, or I need to justify like not doing something immediately, I always just refer to myself in like past tense and say that, oh, it's, or I guess it's not in past, it's in future tense. And then it's like my future self's own problem. So, you know. And then the brilliant sort of part about that whole justification, and here comes the real tidbit about it, is that when you then get into the future, you can blame your past self for all your problems, right? Like, god damn it, that 3 minutes ago Dragon was such a fucking dumbass and a douchebag and leaving me with this bullshit to deal with, you know? So it gives you like a target to also vent at without hurting anyone, which I think is a skill that's worth having. Let's just put it like that. And it's also just a fun way of dealing with it, right? That's probably the most important part. Because if you can't have a little fun once in a while, then life, is it really worth living? Probably. Okay, so now I know that I can make a do with just one of each, like a processor, a landfill, a burner, as long as I have a QB Golem combobulator. And do we have a trash can around here? Yes, we do. Okay. Now we're on day 2, so all things considered, maybe it's time we get some golems going. Let's put those combobulators there. And do the stone ones right next to it. And actually, okay, we need to upgrade, but we can actually do all the combobulators in here and then just have a crystal storage next to that mineral storage or something. Because apparently I only need 3 of each, which is maybe even overkill in some ways from what I've noticed. Okay, so we're doing okay on water at the moment, but that's also to be expected considering that we don't have that much storage to be fair, and what storage we do have is like not within animal pens and that kind of stuff. And I do want to have a marketplace around here, but I guess it'll be up here somewhere. Actually, we could maybe just put it here. Have that space in there clear for now. And then let me just check. See how big this crystal storage is. Yeah, it doesn't fit in there, but that's fine. Could actually make those combobulators across, right? Yes, because these storages do actually fit with this stuff. So if I put that there and a food storage right next to it, see how it like aligns with the combobulators. And then we can use the space on the side for the crystal ones instead. It's a little bit of a wasted space, but that's okay. Don't have to be anal about that kind of stuff. Let's also forward the makeshift marketplace, actually. Oh yeah, we don't have any water collectors either. Or rain collectors. I don't really think we need them at the moment, so... Dealing with the corruption is going to be a little bit troublesome due to the northern part here being all mountainous and shit. So what might make the most sense is to build in torches and then surround the northern half as good as we can until it's completely encircled in that direction, and then worry about the southern edge instead and allow them to just spread down into this pocket if they so desire, and then put like a forward or rear wall around here instead so they have the space to grow on. Because as soon as they get confined, that's when the magic happens and you get screwed over. Like you just get screwed so bad. There's not much you can do about it at that stage. Once they overrun you, that's pretty much it. Game over. There's no way coming back from that. Are these all antlers? I think they are. That's a roost. Some cluckers. Oh, we've got some doggos on the opposite side of the water here. Though we don't currently have a doggo related quest, they are pretty useful as they help moving stuff around. We also need a essence thingy majiggy. But the question is where to put it. Because I want to keep this area here for forest stuff. So this lumber shack has enough to cut down. Similarly on the opposite side I want the same for the crystals. So that would mean that it would have to be down here somewhere. But where? Guess we could use this fence that I've already sort of established and just continue down into this rocky area. And then build it down there, and then that should be fine. Some more organizers to hopefully help out those builders move the materials when they need. Yeah, this is going to take a little while and distract all our builders from actually doing this. Thankfully that doesn't prevent our organizers from at least moving resources around to where they are needed. I'm gonna steal that. Thank you. Oh, there's also a little bit over here. Stealing the iron ore collected by the corruption here. They're arriving from Springland. Nice. Okay, that's interesting. So it seems like the first batch of immigrants we got were all prioritized to come from the first place that we sent them off from. And then it sort of like takes whichever order in which you've been sending things around. That must have been a pain in the ass to program from a game development point. Keeping track of all that stuff and like imagine in the long term when there's like a huge chain of just settlements on the world map that sort of can send things across to each other. Makes you think, doesn't it? So what else would we want? Let's just get some builders in here. Because that will also help us tear down this stuff over here faster. Oh, do need more houses though. At least we have our food and water situation sorted very early this time around. Getting that battery up and running. Oops. There's on the left. We have like a small or established essence collector up here, which we can use at the moment, but it drains really quickly. Speaking of things that drain quickly, this fucking crystal doesn't regrow fast enough. Well, rather I've like limited our locally present amount of resources by quite a bit, so should probably consider expanding that so that our crystal harvesters have some place to harvest that stuff. In order to do that, we will need to cancel the wood line designations here. Do this, and then let's get all these trees demolished. I don't know, would you say demolished when it's a tree? Maybe in the sense of this game at least. I think this should be fine for now. Oh, a sneaky bastard. Probably because it was raining it regrew. Here we have the provisioner. So now we can start hiring cat jeets. Let's just queue a bunch of those. Yeah, there's like no keys available. Huh. I do wonder if the market is global then. That is actually kind of curious. There's only 16 iron ingots available at the moment. I wonder if there's like a perk that upgrades the market restocking speed, because if there's not, then that, like, it being this slow is maybe a bit of a problem. Okay, also where do we want to grow our crops? Because I think we'll probably just do a whole potato field and expand it out. Because there's some crops up here, but I mean, although I could regrow those, it's in a bit of a bad spot to begin with. We have some protective golems now, which are pretty nice. Okay, we can almost fit all our people into our houses. Not quite. Oh, look at all that essence. Suck it up. Motherfucker. Got that tree. Cut it. Cut it now. Has been hired, okay. Interesting, so that's already paying off. Having the marketplace, I guess. And on day 3, that's pretty early from what I normally do, so... Huzzah! Here comes a headless, he's level 1. Watch out. Ugh. And yes, you can click bodies in order to speed up the essence conversion process. You can also use the dissolve into essence spell on like a battlefield to generate a lot of essence instantly. But with my style of play, you don't really need that, so... But hey, it's worth knowing that you can, right? Okay. Okay, I guess we'll just plant the potatoes for now, and then we'll encircle them sometime when it makes sense. I wonder if this spell is also more efficient during spring than the winter. Doesn't tell. This says that it's really handy if you've completely run out of food or want to create a new patch. Which I agree, it's definitely handy if you want to create a new patch of crops somewhere else. Which is most absolutely why it was implemented. People were probably commenting on the fact that it was like pretty hard to sort of move crops into a position, into like a farming area where you wanted it. Because you were dependent on it growing along the ground on the map. Which, when I first played the game, I spent a lot of time just expanding forests and crop fields to get them where I wanted them to be. Because, like, the original field was in such a cramped spot at that point that it basically wasn't really good for anything. But now with this spell, combined with Motivate Land, it's like super easy. Give me the essence. Oh, they can also store dirty water, right? Bonds. I wonder how that works. If they're only gonna use the clean water if there's no dirty water available, or if it just allows them to store more. It seems a little bit of a waste to use a water purifier to clean the water and then chuck it out in your farm field where it's just doesn't matter anymore. Well, perceptively it doesn't matter from like a game's player's perspective. I assume that also goes for real life crops though. As long as there's no like poisonous compounds in there, of course. Or dangerous microbial life. Dangerous to the plant, that is. But what do I know? I'm no expert. Day 4 of spring has begun. Shoe Shine. What a doggo name. What a doggo name. Come on, Shoe Shine. Gotta go for a walk. I am contemplating when I want to upgrade these. Because what do they need again? Cut stones, some rocks, and some crystals. Oh. Yeah. It's a little bit expensive in terms of what we're currently producing, but I think that's okay. You need that battery. Free armor for everyone. Still receiving migrants from Springland. Well, we did also send, what was it, 60 people along? Or was it 70? It was like a fuck ton. And we're also gaining nomads on the side, which is absolutely nuts. Or at least I feel that it is. In a good way. Okay. Let's do another carpenter and another stone cutter, I would say. Organizers. Builders. I think food is a problem. Wood might be though. Understaffed. Let's get these lumber shacks upgraded though, because we need a lot of wood. Just gotta love it once you get to this point where your essence bar can just be recharged, your influence bar can be recharged, or whatever. It's an essence collector that collects essence to your influence bar, but it's all influence gain speed. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, I gotta admit. So as long as you're also just as confused as I am, then we're good. And another one. It doesn't seem like anyone's gonna get stuck. Oh yeah, it's an ancient radiance pool. Cool. As long as no one gets stuck, no one's gonna die. And we like it when people don't randomly die because they get stuck somewhere and end up starving to death. A bottler, I think, is something that I want to build now. Oh, that's a radiance pool, right? I can't squeeze it in here? No, not really. Have to put it all the way up there, but I don't really want to. So I want to sort of reserve some of this space for our water purifiers. Let's put down some of these here, along with a large fountain. Let's go into the trash category, find a trash can. So don't think there's any nearby. Put that in the corner there. And the next building I want to build is an ancillary. Let's do that up there. And let's actually build a recombobulator tower here. Do a little wall segment, I guess. It's fire pit time. Let's see. Okay. This lumber shack and then one more should do it. If we upgrade it. We may as well put this up here too. A little bit of a different strategy. Not too much different than on the last round or on the last map. But I am thinking that maybe having these 4 lumber shacks might be useful, because we end up using up the wood for making these fire pits. And if the wood is both stored and collected further forward, and these buildings provide, like, you know, that 32 range for build range in comparison, that might actually be a good way to expand close to the enemy until you get into like a dangerous distance where you want to switch into fire pits, because they can sort of act as temporary storages and also allow you to collect the wood you need at a like closer location. Maybe. I don't know if that actually matters, but that is the strategy here. I do foresee this becoming a little bit of a pain to deal with though, because they're going to sprint into that fucking southern area. But we will have to deal with that next time. 39 units, just as we're getting going. Kind of sucks, but you know, that's kind of how it is. Because I am tired, a little bit exhausted from modding and all that stuff. And I've also been streaming multiple times this week, with shorter streams instead of 11-hour streams, which we did for the 2.1 RimWorld colony, which, like, I basically didn't get anything else done during the weekend because of those streams. So here we go. Muhu, you get a Musketeer scroll, and K Sleepy, you get Centurion scrolls, 2 of them. Do let me know if that is correctly pronounced, by the way. That is the boss defeated though. And with that, we will be finishing off Rise to Runes. So, before we stop the stream today and I send you off to someone else, assuming there's anyone interesting that we can raid, let's go and check the world map, shall we? Oh wait, we didn't have the domesticated things completed. What am I saying? Whoa, look at that chest! Okay, we're gonna wait with that until the end. I'm curious about the doggo quest, because that was another good one, wasn't it? Potentially. Hey? +1 market Khajiit capacity? Okay, so that tells me that the more Khajiits you have, the more resources? I might have to look that up. Static tower range is really good. Unfortunately not using the static tower, but we might, you know, eventually at some point dig around and have a map where we actually use some other towers. I never think I've ever used a cold aura spell, so whatever. Send 20 villagers to Springland. I guess we would send people from Sandy South to Springland, and then we could send those people on to other places again. Maybe Quiet Forest or something, I don't know. And upgrade 15 buildings in Coast Bridge, like we can do those quests pretty easily. Stockpile 400 leather chests anywhere. I wonder how it counts that, because there's no progress, and I know we have leather chests in various places, so curious. Oh well, let's open this big boy. Whoa! Holy shit. Okay, so what did we get? Construct spell radius, that's pretty good. Refining speed on axis, okay, that's okay. You can get those for upgrading buildings, but having it as passive upgrade is nice. Reduced healing aura spell cooldown. Don't really use it that much. 2 seconds construct spell duration. That's really good. That's really good, actually. Because it's a really expensive spell, so having it last longer is pretty good. Banish spell cooldown. Whatever. Attract tower fire rate. Whatever. +1 wooden golem level. Okay. So that means they're high level as a baseline. And even the highest sort of spawn cap, if you can call it, I don't know what you would call it, would be higher. I think it's like 14 normally, so now a fully upgraded wooden golem, at least combobulator, would generate level 15s. It also means that the lower level ones are gonna be even stronger and overpowered against low level zombies and whatnot, so that's good. And then 5% essence collector capacity. That's also really good for my playstyle, because that means all the essence collectors I build, for each one of those, I gain another 5% extra for free due to this passive. I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. Not putting that back in the chest. Imagine you could do that. Okay, so let's see who we got on Twitch. Oh, Capto's playing Fallout 76. Is he just trying to prove a point? I really wonder. Okay, let's raid Capto just because. I mean, it's kind of been quiet in here today anyway, so. But if you're watching, you came through Stream Raiders or whatever, don't be afraid to say hi, leave a like. It's not like, this is not fucking YouTube. Leave a follow and check out my stream in the future. I love to chat with you if you're interested in that kind of stuff. You can also lurk, that's perfectly fine. But stream engagement does make it more interesting. Tired indeed, I see. Like, I'm tired from, like, mental exhaustion, right? So, though I'm not physically tired, my brain needs a break. And I'm also just wanting to keep the streams shorter. So, anyways, let's go and say hi to Captain. I mean, a 4-hour stream is also pretty good, I would say. Doopy-doop. But thanks for being here, boy. I do appreciate it. And I hope you at least had a nice stream for however long you've been here. So, let's go.
Oh, BTW Cap, my friend wants to invite his IRL friend to the realm if you cared if he does.
As long as you don't mess stuff up, you know the rules. I'm getting raided? Really? Hi, Dragon King! I did not expect you to be getting raided.
Hello.
This character's an alcoholic.